devil's advocate here. Does anybody remember when Vice President Biden had that Freudian slip for whatever reason, and he was on television saying that he believes that his campaign may have created what might be the most comprehensive voter fraud initiative ever created in American history? Paraphrasing per se. So when he said that, I don't think that was a gaffe. I think that due to his mental incompetence and his state of mind recently, that slipped out. I think that slipped out. And he meant every word of that. So in conjunction with ballot fraud, ballot harvesting, all kinds of stuff that's going on, I believe, people are going to contest me on this, but I believe that they pulled no punches with all the tools and resources that they were going to use to try to manipulate this election. Now, what are the odds that Michigan and Georgia are both suspected of using the same software that might have had that present the same glitches of accidentally giving votes that belong to Donald Trump to Biden? Oh, you were unaware of that? You might want to go do some research. That's on record. That's been exposed. These glitches that was found in one county is now believed to be in several counties, and now is being investigated to be in other states. Keep that in mind. And have you heard of anything called the hammer and the scorecard? This is software that the government uses to spy on other intelligence agencies and other things, but it can also be used to manipulate a voting system. I'll go ahead and read something in just a second. But just mind you that I'm making this video, and right now YouTube is probably going to pull this down. Apparently any YouTube video that makes any references to this government software that's used to conduct voter manipulation and voter surveillance is being blocked and pulled off of YouTube. Just throw that out. I'm just throwing that out there. So I don't know how long it's going to stay in, but I'm going to throw it out there anyways. So I'm just going to read a little article before I start this podcast. The general described the hammer and the scorecard, a pair of programs initially designed for the CIA before being privatized by deep state players from the Obama administration. We explained how they work in the last article, but the gist is this. Hammer, or the Hammer, is a counterintelligence surveillance program used to spy on activities on protected networks, like voting machines, without detections, while Scorecard is a vote manipulation application that changes votes during transfer. It's the least detectable form of election manipulation because it works during the data transfer between voting stations and data storage hubs. Unless both sides are looking for irregularities, it is impossible to catch. If nefarious forces had people on one side or the other, or both, during data transfer, it could not be exposed. So there you go. Now listen to the podcast. So let's listen to this retired general from the Air Force give us a little bit more detail about these two programs.
Hey, welcome back to Two Mics. You're on with Dr. Michael Schur, Colonel Mike, and today we have General Thomas McInerney back with us. This is the day after the election. Now, if you
That's
remember
the general
last
right
show
there,
we
by
had
the way,
on,
just in case.
We talked about the hammer.
That's the
And
general.
we talked about the scorecard and what's going on right now post-election. General, welcome back to Two Mics.
Good to be back with you, Colonel Mike.
General, give us an update. What are we looking at? What are we looking at right now across the country?
Well, here's what's happened. I just got word. You've heard, I think, because this is how I'm picking it up, that the Trump campaign has protested in Wisconsin as well, and they've also changing the governor in Arizona is changing it. They were premature. I blame Fox News on that, and their guy running their shop is a solid Dem and Democrat, and they're waylaid a little bit. And so I'm communicating with both parties to make sure that they understand how the Democrat Party corrupted and cheated and stole those votes. And just to refresh our listeners, the Democrats stole a surveillance tool for foreign surveillance that we used against the Taliban and others. They turned it into against America, and they want to keep it as a weapon. In other words, they stole something from the government. That's Brennan when he was the intelligence, and Jim Clapper when he was director of national intelligence. And they're using this program, Hammer, which is the surveillance tool and an application, as we talked about, like on your iPhone, Scorecard, which manipulates the votes at a certain point in the flow stream. They did it in Michigan last night. They moved 50-some thousand votes at one time.
Jeez.
So they're not being subtle about it. And I got this from the people in Michigan after the Republican vote counters had left. The Democrats threw in these blocks of votes to change it. And but this is the way they have done it, using technology that they stole from the government, and it's called the Hammer and Scorecard. It's very important that the American people understand what the Democrats have done. It's an all-out onslaught, and it's another coup d'etat try against the Trump administration. I wish the president would have announced it 2 days ago when we were on the air before the election to say we have evidence that they are using, and it's hard evidence, that they're using Hammer and Scorecard to cheat and take votes and maneuver votes. But he didn't. For whatever reason, couldn't get to the right people. And we broke it here, though, with you and Dr. Mike, the two mics. And now we're seeing the repercussions, and it may sound like sour grapes, but it isn't. They have been blatant about it. And so they're not even trying to hide it.
So, General, let's get this straight. For the last 4 years, there was the coup against the president of the United States.
Yeah, they're going to talk about some other stuff right now. But that's not what I don't want to get into whatever else they're talking about, because that's not what this video is about. This video is about those two software programs that were constructed and created by the government that has been stolen by the Democratic Party and used for voter fraud purposes. Do I think it's a conspiracy? Absolutely not. Because all you got to do is do a little bit of research, and you will find out that software is legit. That software is real. Real software. So, and the general, like I said, that's him up there on the screen right there. The general was disappointed in the president for not announcing it prior to the election that he was aware that software like that existed. And me being the deductive reasoner that I am, I could tell you exactly why he didn't announce that. Because if he makes that type of announcement, he knows, Donald Trump knows exactly what type of position he's in. Everybody knows that he has a big ego, and if things don't go his way, he's already making excuses for why things didn't go his way, right? Excuse me. So to come out preemptively saying, I know the Democrats are going to try to steal this election because they're going to use X, Y, and Z software, that muddies down and takes away the impact of the election. Because people can say, well, if you know about the software, then how do we know you're not using that software? And then on top of that, people will say, well, he's just saying that because he already knows he's going to lose. So either way, preemptively making that announcement puts him at a disadvantage. Like I said before, Donald Trump's a smart guy. So he's thinking 3 steps ahead. He's not going to go out there and try to put this like safety net out there. It's like, oh, just to guys, look out. They're going to try to steal the election. Because he already knows that he's already put himself out there several times saying that they're going to try to steal the election. So he doesn't have to say it anymore. He doesn't need to say it anymore. All he has to do now is keep quiet, let them run their game, and catch them in the act. Like I said before, you think that all of a sudden them finding out that votes that was supposed to go to Donald Trump accidentally went to Joe Biden in some software glitch? What the hell is a software glitch? What software glitch are you aware of that transfers exactly 6,000 votes from one candidate to another? What kind of glitch is that? That sounds a little bit too exact to not be intentional, wouldn't you say? But I know people are going to sit there and say, I don't believe it's voter fraud, blah, 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 blah. You go, that's okay, that's fine. You know, like I said before, you're entitled to your opinion. You keep your head in the sand or in the clouds or wherever else you want to keep it. All I'm going to say is that starting next week, when all this stuff starts getting unraveled and starts getting laid out there on the table for you to see, don't let your eyes let me just take that back. Don't make an intentional effort to not believe what you see with your own 2 eyes. Because a lot of people have been doing that. You see it, but you don't acknowledge it. So when this stuff starts coming out, call it for what it is. Just call it for what it is. That's all. So, but I wanted to make this video. I know this video is going to get banned. It's going to get pulled down. I'm probably going to get banned from YouTube again. Because it's one of those things that it's in the YouTube algorithm that it gets caught after a couple of days. Maybe I'll get lucky. You know, maybe my channel's so small that I won't get caught yet. But I'm putting it out there anyways. Anything that's making reference to this government software is getting pulled off of YouTube, like I said before. So I'm just throwing it out there so maybe you could be one of the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 20, 30, 40 people who now you know about this software. Hammer Scorecard. Government software that's used to manipulate and surveillance voter activity. Look it up. Just look it up. Do some research. With that said, I'm done. I'm tired. I'm done. Like always, if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe. Stay safe. Take care of yourself. Be smart. Use your brain. Peace.